So I'm going to show you all one-on-one how to make your sea moss gel, because the sea moss starts off as this dry sea moss, and the first thing you have to do is soak it. So I'm going to just go ahead and use the rest of this sea moss that I have because I'm making 2 batches. But I use this little, I guess you can call it a strainer somewhat, a strainer basket, but you don't have to use this. You off your sea moss thoroughly because sea moss is an algae. Sea moss is found in the ocean. It's basically a seaweed, so we're just going to clean it. Um, just like we clean our fruit, just like we clean our meat. So sometimes I might get a bowl to clean the sea moss in and then take the water out, but I like this method too. As you start making your own sea moss, you'll start having your preferences and things that you like and dislike. But there are 2 methods to make sea moss. The first method I'm going to show you all is blended in the blender, and the second one is on the stove top. So now once you have your sea moss all clean, you can transfer it to a big bowl, because from there you are going to take lemon and lime to cut it up to add in the sea moss while it is soaking, because this is going to help with the taste. Because once again, sea moss is in the ocean, so it does give you that oceany taste somewhat. Also, if you are allergic to acidic, you can skip this step. But I usually squeeze a full lemon and a full lime into the bowl. And then I take the other half of the lemon, I squeeze a little bit, drop it in there, and then the same with the lime. I squeeze a little bit and I drop it in there. So now, to fill up the water to soak, to fill up your bowl to soak the sea moss, you can either use distilled water or spring water. I'm going to use this Callaway Blue spring water. And when you fill it up, you want the water to cover the sea moss, because the sea moss is going to expand. So then you can blend it. And y'all, it's crazy how much sea moss expands. Like, if you thought that was just a little bit of sea moss, just wait until you see how much it expands overnight. Okay, so this is how you want your water to cover your sea moss. And then at this point, you're just going to, you can either cover it and put it in the fridge, or you could just put it in the fridge. I also wanted to add, you can just leave your sea moss out on the counter and cover it. Okay, so we have let our sea moss sit in the refrigerator overnight, and like I told you all, it has definitely expanded a lot. So now what we're going to do is transfer it to our blender. So we're just going to break a couple of pieces off. Because this jar is going to be a 16-ounce jar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make it regular, and then I'm going to show you how to make it if you want to add any fruits to your sea moss. All right, we're gonna get our lemon and our lime. Cut it like we did the last time. We're gonna squeeze that into what I call mine the OG sea moss, which that's just the regular blend of sea moss. And we're gonna do the same thing with our lime. And then I'm going to use this whole lemon actually just to help with the taste a little bit. Alright, so now that we've added our lemon and our lime, we're gonna fill. So my blender has numbers. I know everybody's blender doesn't. You don't want to cover the sea moss in water. But the good thing is with this, if you don't add a lot, you can always go in and add more water. Whereas if you add too much water, you can't really go back and unadd water. Alright, so usually when I know my sea moss is ready is when it stopped dancing. So if you saw when you first blended it, like everything was going to the top, as you can see, but now, like as you saw, the blending was not dancing, it wasn't going everywhere. So what I'm going to do is just get a spoon so I can get the excess sea moss from the sides, because when I'm pouring it in, I don't want some of these chunks of sea moss to be in my blend. Okay, so that should be good. And I'm gonna just start it again for probably like another minute. Alright, so now we are just going to transfer it to our mason jar or whatever jar you will be using for your sea moss. And voila, you have your own sea moss gel that you just stick in the refrigerator and it will be good for 3 to 4 weeks.